fuel in. So we see the drivers get in now. The reason we have a minimum pit stop time, it looks a bit weird. I can look from an F1 kind of perspective where they're done in 2 seconds now, but it's a safety perspective. As a driver, if there wasn't a minimum, I'd kind of jump in and on my out lap sort my belts out then and then get cracking. So this makes sure all the belts are done up, the window net's done, the tyres are put on a safe and timely manner, and it's fair for everyone. So it doesn't matter if one team has more budget and can practice pit stops, it keeps it even for everyone. The GT4 have more time than GT3 because they have 5 stud wheel nuts, so you can hear them NASCAR style buzzing them on and off, where the GT3 is one big centre lock wheel, which does a good job to keep those big slicks on.
Significantly as well, the Silver Cup entries in GT4, which is the bulk of the field, have to serve an additional 26 seconds. That's quite a lot of time. I'm not convinced they've all gained 26 seconds in their first stint, so that will maybe lead to a bit of a shuffle of the order. As I said, most of the absolute front runners in GT4 were silvers anyway. There were a couple of Pro-Am cars, though, that could benefit from that.
Yeah, and we saw on the timing screen Fletcher in the Beech Dean GT4, the lead Pro-Am car, as we see Phil Keane nice and positive down the inside there, and he wants to get going and try and make up some of that time. But I think Fletcher's going to be leading GT4 because of that penalty you talk about. He did a great job. This year he has come on a million miles. He's almost closer to a pro than an am in his performance, which is great. Again, it's not his full-time job. He does a bit of that acting stuff or something, and all the women love him when he goes up and down the pit lane. So he's got 2 jobs, one driving and one dealing with women, I think.
So I've heard. Yes, but he always used to be an actor that did a bit of racing, and now it's almost swapping around, isn't he? He's taking this very seriously this year. He always did take it seriously, but this year, as you say, has been a marked improvement, and the fact that he's kept up with the silver graded drivers around him is telling of that. The move we just saw, by the way, that was made by Phil Keane, that was for 6th position now, so Phil Keane ahead of Ben Green for 6th, and the next target for him is Seb Morris in the number 31 Bentley. There he goes. He was only a couple of seconds up the road. That would be to get the 72 car into the top 5. Bear in mind that about half an hour ago that car was 10th in class, and now they're staring down the barrel of a top 5 finish, and their teammate car is in 4th. So what was going to be a fairly significant advantage points-wise for the 69 car is being limited now by a good second half of the stint for Adam Ballon and a good start to the stint by Phil Keane, as he turned a decisive move up the inside of Ben Green's BMW, and that car looks as though it might be able to salvage something out of this afternoon after all. So now towards the hairpin they go, and Ben Green's number 3 BMW then also having a decent run, 7th place for them at the moment. Now that's their best finish of the year. They've had a couple of top 5s, a couple of 5th places in fact at Alton Park, but beyond that their season has gone rather downhill.
And that's the fastest lap of the race for Phil Keane as well there, so
yes,
that's a pretty good intent statement there, that he's taken a chunk out of Morris as well in that lap, let alone like nearly 0.8 of a second. So that battle's going to heat up in the next lap and a half, 2 laps. And then, as you said, he's kind of back to where they need to be for a championship perspective. Looks like Cocker's still in front of Lind, which will be an interesting 3-way Lambo battle, especially between Phil Keane and Lind. Lind's a Lamborghini factory driver that we've not had in British GT before, so it's always great to get these international drivers in and see where they are. A bit of a litmus test really for the British GT drivers, but also them to see what level everyone's at. We call it just British GT, but the level of these guys, the teams, the drivers, they go into Blancpain, say, the next weekend, and they're in the same sort of positions in the top 5. So just a domestic championship, but it is at an international level of quality these days.
According to my timing screen, Mark Farmer has just set the fastest lap of the race. I think that's Nicky Team, and they haven't swapped the transponder over. And right on cue, my timing screen changes. So Nicky Team with the fastest lap of the race, 1:27.9, in 11th place though, and then 10.6 seconds behind Tom Onslow Cole, who makes his return to the championship in the number 8 Mercedes. This then, the fight for 5th, Seb Morris, Phil Keane. Phil Keane looking definitely the quicker of the 2, and the car looking better suited to this circuit as well. We've seen Phil and Seb do battle for the championship a couple of years ago, and it was Seb with his teammate Rick Parfit who came out on top then, at that point running for Team Parker Racing. This season it's the JRM squad who are running the Bentleys. Had good pace at the early rounds of the season, but right now the Lamborghini looking quicker. Where does the Lamborghini make the move then? Because through this part of the circuit, the gap is going back out.
Yeah, so the longer wheelbase of the Bentley, like I said earlier, is just better through the mid-speed corners. The Lambo's going to have the biggest, at the end of the straight it looks quick, also on the brakes. So it's definitely that second half of the lap, isn't it? You see the gap's really grown already here, so Phil might be just thinking about, I want a bit of a gap to run into. You see the on-board from Phil, how relaxed he is. I've done a few races with Phil, Spa 24 Hours, you cannot rattle the guy, so you know he's going to stay calm, even if there's a bit of adversity, he's going to be there. Seb, that bit younger, come from single seaters, super fast, but maybe has a bit more of a mistake in him than Phil, so Phil will also be thinking about that and just waiting for it here, but the kind of gap's closed back up again a little bit, but actually looks like the Bentley's got some good mid-speed performance from that kind of traction into high speed, and the concertina effect makes it hard to really understand where the car is strong, but it doesn't really grow on that exit, so it looks like he'll probably be close on the exit of this corner like he was last lap. We'll have a look into Redgate. Hopefully that Merc holds Morris up from Keane's perspective, but now he's going to get held up on exit, so actually that was a pretty fair GT4 battle in terms of holding them both up.
Michael Broadhurst, that was in the Fox Motorsport Mercedes, doing his best to stay out of the way. But Bentley stays in 5th place for the time being. These two are circulating about 51 seconds behind the race leaders and being caught, so putting away now from Ben Green, who's been caught by Ross Gunn, who's not doing badly for his first appearance in the car in British GT this year.